Hey yo, welcome back to the Undrafted and Unqualified Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Anthony here with Vinny again, and boy, is it good to be back. We are finally back. It's been a minute. I'm actually still in a hotel room, other side of the country. But I'm excited to get this in. We're doing a mock draft today. So super simple, no prep. We'll be in here, be in and out, and this will be a very fun one. And maybe the last one for the summer, depending on the time, because we got a lot to get through, including rankings that will be starting later this week, actually. But
Yep.
yeah, very excited to be back. Very excited to get into a mock draft. I know, Vinny, you've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and we'll start with
Yeah.
the question real quick. Is there one guy where you've been, ripping through these mocks where you're like, I'm getting this guy every time?
Yeah. So it's a little confusing because I don't know for sure. I've been using Sleeper to just do a mock draft, and obviously like AI is mock drafting or whatever. But I don't know if this is like real value, if this is the real value he's at right now. But I've been drafting Tucker Craft in like
Mm.
this eighth round or seventh, like around there, in every time I can get. And I don't know. I feel like that sounds right. Like maybe he's a little bit earlier with like some people that are actually locked into ADP, not just a computer. But I've been drafting Tucker Craft everywhere because he's by all means, all reports, going to be ready for week one. They're already talking an extension for him. They want to pay him. They want him to stay here. It just feels like we saw what he could be as a focal point of the offense, and he's going to get that chance again, starting off from week one, and you could get him in the eighth round. I just think he has top five upside, no doubt. So, yeah, it's been him off the rip.
All right. Yeah, Tucker Kraft's a guy I got to consider as a keeper in our league. So, and keeper in the ninth. So, we'll see where he
Yep.
goes, and we're gonna be doing fancy pros. So maybe it'll look a little different today,
Yep.
depending where he goes, everything in that. But yeah, why don't we just hop into it here? I'll
Yep.
share my screen in a sec. It's going to be a standard PPR 12 team, standard roster, no kicker, no defense, six bench, and yeah, it's going to randomize our spots. We'll get into this draft, and then I'll share the screen as soon as it loads.
Oh, it does the randomization for us.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right.
Draft board. Draft starts in 15. Yeah, let me go ahead share my screen here.
Oh
Um,
shit, I think I'm 12.
Yeah, you got 12, I got 5. So this will be an
Okay.
interesting one. Um,
Two different sides of the board.
yeah. And then yeah, so wow, that was I went right through it. But Vinny, can you see my screen here?
I guess I could just go off of yours. Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
All right, yeah, yeah. No, obviously pick on yours and everything. I just want to make sure you can see this, so everybody watching can see as well. So
Hmm.
we got the draft board here, the cheat sheets. My team's on the left side there. Yeah, here's all the players listed out. Then you got, the suggestions as well. We're not going to be using suggestions, right? We're not following that. But yeah, I'll go to the draft board so y'all can see it as we go through it. But yeah, here I am at the 105. Bijan, Gibbs are both gone, and Jamar. Any order you want to go, those are my top three as well. Puka goes four, very solid, and I think very easily for me. You could go Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor here, but I think that you don't overthink this, and you go JSN here. I think he should easily be a great pick this year once again. You see Amon Ra right after, love that pick as well. Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown. Vinny, that puts you on the clock here at the 112.
Yeah. Wow, AJ Brown made it into the first round there. So that's something that's surprising to me.
I love
But yeah, I
AJ
like the
Brown.
JSN pick for you. At 105 just seems like such a great spot because you could pick the last guy of that like sort of elite S tier of fantasy guys. And yeah, so here with me, it's nice to have back-to-back picks, but I just feel like it puts me in a spot where I have to hit on the pick
Mhm.
because these guys are studs, but I feel like we ran right after Jonathan Taylor. It's kind of good players, but you know not locked in to be whatever it is at their position.
Yeah.
Um, this first pick here, I'm gonna go. Hmm, I'm gonna go with Ashton Genty. I really like the situation, like in sort of like a what's it called, like a Jameer Gibbs kind of year two for him, where like new coach, obviously. What? Why am I blanking on his name? The OC from the
Kubiak.
Seahawks,
Cliff
Kubiak,
Kubiak.
yeah, and then a revamped O line. Mendoza comes in. It's going to be Kirk, but the offense just seems to be building towards him again having a big role. So I
Mhm.
like his chances to push for top five upside at the position for sure. And then let's see here. I'm not a huge fan of like going Pickens here. That's way too early in my mind. Um, so I think I'm gonna go dual running back start, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Devon Achane. And I feel like
Really?
it's gone to a did I just pick him or did it?
It
Oh,
didn't go through yet.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Devon Achane. I feel like a lot of people are getting scared of like the situation, the Miami offense, which I understand. I just look back to like the most recent one is Kamara on that Saints year a couple years ago, where he just had so many receptions that he
Mhm.
forced his way into being an RB1. And this is at like sort of the decline of his career. Um, so HN, he's going to get the opportunity. I don't think the Miami offense is going to be great, but it's all going to revolve around him. So bearing an injury, this guy should put up a monster PPR season. And honestly, I probably reached on him a little bit as I know he's been falling towards like the middle of the second. I've noticed that. So
Mhm.
I love to start with Genti and Achan, kind of filling out my RB room.
Yeah, I think James Cook's he went next pick. But I think honestly, A-Chan, I'm warming up to a little bit. I was hearing like podcast the other day, and they were going through the divisional breakdowns, and they talked about Miami. And if Miami has a mediocre season and puts up 30 touchdowns, how many do you think go to A-Chan? So it's like that's a consideration. I think PPR wise, he's going to get a lot of reception. So yeah, I'm in on Achan too. I think, and this is a good start. You start the dual running backs. Feels like there is some risk with these guys, as you said after Jonathan Taylor. That kind of feels the way it is, and that's just always how it is with running backs too. But that feels like a lock, like a really solid start. So love that there. We see Drake London go here. Devontae Smith. That feels really
Wow.
early for him
Oh,
over Nico Collins, who went 2 picks later. Marion Hampton, Saquon Barkley. That puts me on the board at the 208. And I have JSN. We can see some running backs here. Chase Brown, Ken Walker, Jeremiah Love, Derrick Henry. Let's take a look at wide receivers. George Pickens, Rashi Rice, Chris Olave. This is an easy pick for me. I'm going right back up to the running back, and I'm slamming the draft button on Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown's going to be unbelievable this year. Burrow, and even without Burrow, if Burrow's to get hurt again, they do have Flacco now, and they don't have to trade for him. So I think Chase Brown's going to be unbelievable, almost a can't miss draft pick there. So I really like that start there with Chase Brown. Anything on Chase Brown before I continue on?
yeah, no, I was honestly like I have Chase Brown closer to Achan than I do Hampton and James Cook.
Yeah,
So I couldn't take him at the 201, but I love the spot that you got him there.
yeah.
I'd love to get him in the middle of the second.
Yeah, for sure. And you see Ken Walker, Jeremiah Love, Derrick Henry, the other running backs I mentioned go. Those receivers go, I mentioned. And then you also have there the tight ends going. Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. I'm seeing a lot of Bowers going before McBride now. And I don't know if I can get on board with that. Like I know McBride's in for some regression, but this dude's a stud. Like I find it very hard to believe he's not going to be insanely good again. And yeah, Bowers could definitely have a monster year. I don't mind if you go Bowers over McBride, but after the year McBride just had, it's very hard for me to say, oh Bowers, yep, he's healthy, yep, no more Geno Smith, he's good to go, he'll be better than McBride. That's me personally, but either way, these two guys are absolute studs, anyways.
Yeah, I am in the Bowers camp, and I was honestly going to ask you if you considered going tight end at any point with your pick right there, because I've wanted to get Bowers shares, but you're right. Like it's been such a premium now where I think he
Yep.
does deserve it. Like this guy has 300-point upside. Like it's
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
unrealistic to say that. But you're right. Like the seasons Trey McBride's put together back to back years, it is good to see them going very close to each other. But Bowers, I would put him above McBride personally.
Yeah, interesting when we'll talk rankings. But I mean, these start like you have three elite guys at each position. I like
Hmm.
this team one more because I think Derrick Henry. I
Yeah.
like that with Jamar
Wow.
better
Yeah,
than
that's a great
Pickens with
start.
Bijan. So yeah, unreal. Let me make my pick here. We're looking through. I'm probably not gonna go Josh Allen here, although I I don't hate if you want to go that route. But we keep talking about how deep QB is this year. You got like Brees Hall, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs. I like Scadaboo as well. You got Loveland. If I want to reach there, he's been going around the fourth round. You got some of these wide receivers here. Honestly, this may be a little early, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab Josh Jacobs. I think as long as he's healthy, he's gonna be very good, and that feels really good as my RB2. So I love this start. I feel like in the few mocks, I definitely haven't done as much as you, but in the few mocks I have done, I've been grabbing a lot of Josh Jacobs, and it feels good whether it's the third or fourth round. And yeah, I'm very happy with that start right there.
Yeah, no, Jacobs, I've even seen him go later. Like he's been
Yeah,
another faller that we've talked about, which kind of created the value for us in one of our episodes. But yeah, no, I feel like he's just become an underrated pick, and now it's kind of that slip back to reality of like, oh yeah, this guy when he gets the touches and is healthy is a stud.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I like the start, get two stud running backs. Let's
yeah.
see here. So,
We got Josh Allen going off the board. Say Flowers,
mhm,
Garrett Wilson, Malik Neighbors. That feels very early. Brees Hall and Kyron Williams.
mhm. And I just want to point out, I love that spot for Josh Allen. I think that's the only
It's a
quarterback
good
that
spot.
I would like there because look at right there, you have three outliers at the position in
Hmm.
Amon-Ra, Saquon, and now Josh Allen. Like
Hmm.
that's a monster start. So if Josh Allen got to me, I would definitely pick him. But here, I think I had a guy in mind when I was looking at the board, and he's still there. Um, and I'm gonna go with this is a guy I've kind of flip-flopped on this off season. I'm gonna go with Ted McMillan.
Hmm.
I don't. Here's what I'll say. I don't like it as my wide receiver one. Um, that feels weak at the position, but
Yeah.
because I have back-to-back picks here, I can get a little weird with how I construct the team. And um, man, I thought I had a lock down, but I'm not gonna go quarterback. Definitely not.
Hmm.
Hmm,
Hey, this is why we mock too. See if you like
yeah,
that double running back build, and then you go from there.
yeah. So, man. I want to try it just to see how the build looks. I don't
Mhm.
think it's gonna, but we'll see. I'm gonna go Colston Loveland. I
Okay.
feel like it's early, but as I've kind of like I've talked about the hate or not hate, but just disliking for Luther Burden and
Hmm.
at his ADP. And as I like think about where this offense is gonna be, I think Colston Loveland's the biggest beneficiary of it. And I think
Yeah.
he kind of has one of those Laporta maybe Bowers rookie years, even though it's his second year. And he's a real difference maker. The price tag is steep if it doesn't work out, but just the targets he was getting in the playoffs last year, it has the real case, unlike Burden, in my opinion, where we saw it play into action in a big way and lead to big fantasy performances right at the end of the year. So that usually is the, teaser for a breakout, which I'm going to pay the price here. I don't love the price tag, but I kind of want to see a team with him on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you don't go Loveland here, you don't get him at the end of the fifth. So that's
Mhm.
one of those you believe it, you go get him. And that's the thing at the turn. You got to get the guys because you got to wait two full rounds to until you pick again.
Yep.
So yeah, I like that a lot. We see T. Higgins, Lamar Jackson, Emeka Egbuka, Lad McConkey, Javante Williams, and Terry McLaurin go off the board. I went Josh Jacobs thinking there was a better chance that Egbuka would make it back to me. He didn't. That would have been my pick there. But let's take a look here. Obviously, there's Tyler Warren. If I want to reach on him, don't think I'm going to do that. You have Burden. You have Devontae Adams. Don't love some of these wide receivers here. There's Jalen Waddle. Um, we look at some of the running backs. Do I want to triple up and go get Cam Scadaboo? Maybe. Do I want to get Drake May? He is my QB2 on the year. I think that could honestly be a really interesting pick. I just don't know if I want to spend a fourth on Drake May. That feels really early. So Cam Scadaboo's really enticing here, but I think I want to get another receiver, and it it feels kind of gross, but I have Luther Burden the highest of these remaining wide receivers. And I think that's what I want to do. I feel good about JSN, so I'm fine taking a shot here. So I'm going to go get Luther Burden there. Could be a little early for sure. Yeah, I know that's kind of a reach, and I'm playing an interesting game here, but I think I'll be able to create a nice build around that with JSN feeling like a very lock solid wide receiver one. You got Jalen
Yeah.
Waddle. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, it's interesting just because, obviously I just took Loveland, maybe a little bit of a reach, and then you go with Burden, probably around where he's going, but like still feels pricey just for what he's
Yeah,
done to this point. But I think that's the point I was making, where it's these guys are going right near each other, sort of in drafts, and I just don't see a way where both return on the ADP. So
mhm.
you're kind of taking your shot on which guy it's going to be. But yeah, it very well could be Burden. I just think someone's going to hit in this offense, whether it's a
Yeah,
Dunze or Burden, and you're going to get rewarded. So these are kind of the shots you take. And there's a good chance it could be a couple of them. But
mhm.
yeah, I'm not in the Burden camp, but I see the reasons why. So, I respect the pick.
Yeah, I think Loveland is going to be the leader. I think he's going to be a great pick in the fourth round. Burden, you're drafting at his ceiling, so that's what I went and did here. Just some of those other names just aren't enticing to me, like Waddle, Devontae Adams, and J-Mo go, and those are all fine picks to me. But I wanted to take the upside swing with a guy as steady as JSN. You got
Yep.
ETN, Scadaboo, Montgomery go, Drake May in there, Tyler Warren in there as well. Um, Tyler Warren probably would have been my pick there, to be honest. I'm not going to be reaching here on Kraft, Fannin, or any of those guys, though. Um, so I won't be doing that. We look running back again. There's still some solid options there. Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels. This is interesting. I guess I haven't mocked enough on Fantasy Pros because I'm not loving how my draft is turning out. Um, like if I were to go receiver here, I think my pick would be Carnell Tate, but I don't want to do that with Luther Burden. So
Mm.
that's where I'm like, all right, I'm in a tough spot. There's some other great running backs I think that could be good options, um, and I want to see how this build works. Again, this is why we do the mock drafts, right?
Yep.
DeAndre Swift would be my pick here, but I don't want to go Swift when I just took Burden. I don't want to invest too much into that offense. I'm gonna go Quinshon Judkins. I think this kid's a stud. He's gonna get a lot of work, and we're just gonna see how this build works out for me.
I like it. Yeah, it is interesting when you kind of have to go on the fly because, of course, you can have a plan,
Yeah.
but you never know how someone else is going to draft. People like guys more than you like a guy probably, and
Hmm.
pause. But and yeah, no, I like the upside with Judkins. I think they're trying to improve the offense. So um, yeah, we'll see how that works out. All right, I'm on the clock here. Let's
Yeah, a
just see
couple
who.
more QBs go. Bucky Irving, DJ Moore, Christian Watson. So QBs are
Hmm.
flying off right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about going quarterback here, and I'm kind of glad the run happened just to make the pick easier for me. But here we go. So, uh, I currently, how do I find my team? I'm just a mess. Oh yeah, so I have two running backs,
Yep.
Tet as my one, and then Loveland. I need to work on receiver, but I kind of like the deepness in receiver this year, even with Tet being my receiver one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a guy I liked a lot last year in Travion Henderson. I think there's a lot of upside with this pick, especially at the flex spot, and it's kind of just too good of value in my opinion to pass on, even though there is a need at the receiver position. So I kind of lock up the running back position in my mind. And then here, I'm gonna go. We just talked a lot about Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, kind of like who's going to be the guy. And in my mind, this feels like, again like a reach. I'm kind of going on the fly, like you said, but I think the guy that is the biggest beneficiary of them all is Caleb Williams. And I'm going to grab the stack with
Mm.
Caleb here and Colston Loveland. Who, if I think Colston Loveland's the guy, I'm just going to invest in this offense. And I think Caleb due for a big year. I don't know what QB off the board that makes him, but probably like QB seven or
Let's see.
so.
One,
QB
two, three, four, five. Yep, seven.
so QB
So
seven. I feel like I don't know about your rankings. I haven't really made my QB rings yet, but definitely feels a little early,
mhm.
especially with the deepness at QB. But I just kind of want to see this build with a stack that I think could be productive.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely tough investing early into those tight end and QB positions. It's tough on the
Mhm.
bye week as well, but honestly, it's a great stack if it hits. It just leaves you weak at wide receiver. So
Yep.
that's the thing. It's like, okay, what do you do here? Mike Evans goes, Sam Laporta, another tight end goes. You got Swift, Tootin, Jalen Warren, Jadarian Price. I feel good at running back right now. I'm probably not looking at Tony Pollard or anybody there. I don't think I'm gonna look QB yet. This feels like a tier to me. Like basically what 8 Justin Herbert till like 16 or 17 even. Like it just feels like there's so many options within there. So I'm not gonna make that pick yet. I'm gonna go down to the wide receiver position. Wow, now I'm even more tempted to go get Carnell Tate because I know he'll get a lot of targets. So honestly, I think that is what I'm gonna do here is just all right, I'm in on Tate. Let me get him anyways, even if it creates a weird build with him and Burden. I'm gonna get Tate there, and we'll take a look who else is gone? Yeah, more QBs flying off the board. Three more go. What's that? So that's you took eight. So 10 have gone, and we're in the seventh round. This is very different than a lot of other drafts are going right now with ADP. When we were looking at ADP, right, we're talking about a lot of these guys going in the sixth round, and then we saw one, two, three, four, five, six guys go before that sixth round where the QB2 in Lamar was going. So this just screams to me with Lamar and Burrow as our busts. Like, wow, like they're going way too early, and that makes our picks even more enticing as bust picks. Um,
Yep.
Feels weird that 10 have gone already, and we're in the beginning of the seventh
Yeah.
round.
I feel like this is based off of ADP, definitely, right? Or the simulation's kind of based off of ADP.
ADP, ECR, all that
Yeah.
stuff. I think.
So I think, oh shoot, don't know what happened with my lights there, but I feel like that the QB, there's so many values that we talk about in the deepness of the position that it almost has pushed them up the board because everyone's trying to go get the guy
Yeah.
that they believe is a value. So it'll be interesting to see if that lasts into actual start of like redraft seasons and leagues. But
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. 10 off the board feels really early.
Feels so weird, yeah, and that just makes me want to wait even more because
Mhm.
a lot of teams have their QB. Now we're in a mock draft, and there's a very good chance that some teams start taking a second QB. So I got to be aware of that. But for now, I feel no need to go get one. I don't want to reach either. Kyle Pitts in the sixth, that's disgusting. Like, I don't know what's going on here. So, yeah, you see some more wide receivers go. A Downs in the sixth. Like, that's so early. Wandale in the seventh. I'm noticing in this draft specifically, receivers are flying off the board.
Mhm.
Like the fact that Wandale and Josh Downs are going off in the sixth and 11th round is insane.
Yeah. I'm not feeling good about my one receiver build right now.
Yeah. Tucker Craft, solid pick. What? Kyle Pitts went up. All right. Anyways, Kyle Pitts went above Tucker Craft. Again, I'm good on running back. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like Purdy. I feel fine. I don't want to reach on QB just because they're all flying off the board. I love Alec Pierce this year. Was hoping he fell to this round again. Now I'm feeling really good about this build now, just because I can see it. Well, we can see it in here. I got three locked in running backs. That feels good. Like you're not going to walk away with a ton of running backs where they're going to make an impact unless you're walking away with a ton of handcuffs. So this feels good. And then JSN, Luther Burden, Carnell Tate, Alec Pierce, I will absolutely make that work. And then I have the option of Judkins in the flex as well. So I'm very happy with this build. I think Pierce has a chance to be like a wide receiver too. So I don't even mind this build at all. We'll continue to see how it builds out. There's a lot of volatility. These three wide receivers could all not pan out the way I'm hoping they do, but it feels great in terms of, I like these guys and we'll see how it builds out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I like that sort of build of upside, but also some floor. And I think Pierce should have a better floor than people think just
I
on the
agree.
volume alone. Um, so here, rethinking like my picks that I've had so far, I do feel good still because I basically locked up three positions where I'm
Hmm.
not going to go quarterback again until much later if I need, if even if I do. And then running back, I feel really good at. Tight end, I feel really good at.
Hmm.
So really, this is like you said, receivers have gone off the board, and there was a good run of them right there. Like I would have
Yeah,
loved Makai Lemon or Parker
5 going
Washington,
there. Yeah.
um, or Jordan Tyson, even Brian Thomas. I would have loved one of those guys to fall to me here,
Yeah.
but I can kind of take some dart throws at receiver, knowing I'm confident at the other three main positions. So
Mhm.
let's see here kind of who. So DK, the highest ranked guy according to their.
Yep.
But Godwin, I'm just out on. DK and Pittman just feel pretty gross.
Yeah.
This is like a gross part of the draft for receiver. So I
Hmm.
think let this be a lesson that you can load up at other positions, but receiver gets a little. You might want. I wish I kind of invested maybe that Caleb pick in the receiver there, but let's see. I'm gonna go. Man, this is brutal. I'm gonna go with. hmm,
It's pretty nasty thinking wide receiver two here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go DK just because I think he has like some upside with floor, and I just hate Godwin and Pittman there. And they're gonna obviously be here again for me. And I'm gonna go another receiver. I sort of have to. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go with Michael Wilson here.
Nice.
I think it doesn't feel good, but he finished so well at the end of the season. And if Jacoby comes back, it's in a similar situation or very almost the same situation. So just
Yep.
adding Jeremiah Love as my wide receiver three, it feels horrible. But I think having Travion at the flex weekly would make me feel a little bit better about that. That Michael Wilson's not a regular starter.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, dude. Honestly, like Tet feels a little volatile because it's Bryce Young throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
DK, he's the most volatile there is. Michael
Yeah,
Wilson, probably volatile as well now that Marv will be back, and we'll see how that works out. But I think I would have gone Michael Wilson within one of those two picks, along with probably Quentin Johnston. I think Quentin
mm,
Johnston's just going to be on the field. So I would have considered that. I would have even considered probably Chris Godwin or Michael Pittman over DK because those guys are going to have a floor. And you can
yeah,
feel okay with that as a wide receiver, too. But swinging for the fences, if that hits, that's it's going to be quite the team.
yeah. Interesting build.
Yeah, let's go back to the cheat sheets. Wide receivers are getting ugly very quickly. I have four. I don't know if I want to reach there. Running backs, I have three. And this is where now, like, the value is coming to me. And I think this is an easy, let me draft Tucker Craft here. Um, I feel good about that. Yeah, maybe I'm investing Josh Jacobs, Tucker Craft, in that Packers offense, but Tucker Craft in the eighth when Pitts went a full 2 rounds ahead. That feels great. So I'm very happy with the way the board fell for me to grab Kraft right there. And as you said, that's the guy you've been getting in all your drafts. So that
Yeah,
feels really good.
I love
Um,
that pick. Yeah, and it's good to see him going here too. Like that's got to be my value. The best value on the board, in my opinion, is a guy that showed he has top five upside. Not with production. This isn't even like a prediction. He was the tight end one almost for
yep.
until he got hurt. So,
Yep.
yeah, love that pick.
Yeah, I love it as well. We got bunch of running backs going off the board. These are disgusting to me. Like, I mean, let's see. Team four, team three both have two already, so it's not the end of the world. But, Brooks, Aaron Jones, like, this part's just nasty. I mean, they all had two, so it could be worse. If any of these guys were your RB2, that's gross. But, overall, I don't like some of these picks in there. Ricky Pearsall feels disgusting at this point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we're in the ninth. Um, I'm feeling great about this team too. Like I got four wide receiver. I feel like I want to go another wide receiver. I feel like there's just so much volatility in there. Um, so I'm intrigued in going another wide receiver, and I'm hoping for a guy with some floor. I just don't know if there is. Maybe like a Khalil Shakir, but I don't really want to take Khalil Shakir here. So maybe I'll come back to receiver in another round. I like some of the running backs here. So I think that's where I'm going to look. J.K. Dobbins, another start. Like we know or should know this guy is going to be starting. That's a great option. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So now I have four starting running backs, and I'm going to be feeling good about that position.
Yeah, no, it's funny because in the mock drafts I've been doing recently, I feel like my picks in this eighth and ninth round have been like Tucker Kraft and J.K. Dobbins or Rashad White or
Yeah,
Jonathan Brooks.
yeah,
Like
that was my other
that
option,
little
Rashad
combo.
White. Yeah,
Yep. So I love that pick because J.K. Dobbins feels like such a solid option when you set your lineup for week one. You know this guy's going to get like 15 touches week one at
yeah,
least. And he might not be there at the end of the year, and you might need to figure that position out as the year goes. But I just think it's such a lock that if he can stay healthy, you're looking at RB like two-ish touches, probably. Maybe not the
sure.
production, but he's going to get the touches.
He was super efficient last year too, and I mean
Mhm.
he's my RB4 in this build specifically. So I'm walking away super happy with that. We
Yep,
see Corum, Rashad White, as we just said, love that as well. Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir, Jalen Coker. I like it's starting to get a little gross. Harold Fannin goes there too. I think that's a really solid pick. End of the ninth, getting Harold Fannin. I
it
mean
is.
Lamar, like this feels like a pretty solid build. They need more running backs, but overall, like solid team right there. I don't mind that at all. Team 10.
Yeah. Yep. No, yeah, Harold Finn and he was my sort of fade or bust pick, and I feel like it's again a situation where it's sort of getting to the point where he's now a value. Like
Yeah.
he's getting a little too disrespected now.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
I think this is just one of those mocks, but Pitts literally three full rounds earlier than Fannin. Like, I'm
mhm.
taking Fannin any day over Pitts. So that just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, Fantasy Pros. What are we doing? What are we
All right, so here again, like it sucks when you get put in when you put yourself in a position at these later rounds to kind of like have some makeup picks because that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. But I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna trust the good offense and sort of like a third year bounce back. So I don't like the pick. I'm gonna go Xavier Worthy. Um, I know you're not a fan of him.
No,
I think
not at all.
it's again a situation where um, I feel like we saw it in year one. And I know the outlying metrics and those sorts of things didn't really defend him well, in that it was sort of like a boomer bust kind of play. But again, that's kind of you're not going to get a great floor guy at the position in these rounds, at receiver especially. So I feel like I got to keep with the trend of hoping some guy booms on this team with Michael Wilson, DK, Ted, and now Xavier Worthy. It's obviously a very weak position. I'm not going to fix that in these rounds. So I kind of want to stick with the upside.
Taking your
um,
shots.
I keep forgetting I have back to back picks. So this was a guy I was debating between two, and I'm gonna go Addison. I think he was
Sleeper, I
your
believe.
yeah sleeper pick because
Yeah.
he's fell down boards, and I think with Kyler, everyone's talking about Jettas. It's going to be a bounce back Jettas. Jettas a first round pick again. Well,
Mhm.
I'll get the wide receiver two in that offense in the 10th round. So I feel
That
like maybe that provides a little bit of a floor more than these other picks, but still some upside there.
Yeah, no, I was considering him there when I took Dobbins at the 905. So I really like that pick. I like Addison. So yeah, I think that's a great pick. And there's chances he could be a solid wide receiver too in this build for you. So not bad at all. We see more tight ends go. Do these teams not have tight ends yet? No. So a lot of teams, their first tight end. I like Kittle here in the 10th. That's a great pick. Charbonnet and Bill in the 10th too. That feels solid. Like some of these picks are looking like pretty solid places to grab those guys there.
Mhm.
But that puts me back on the clock. Um, Still need a QB. I have Tucker Kraft. I'm still looking at wide receiver here. And I think oddly enough, like, if you go down, you're taking shots at that point. I'm gonna go Romeo Dobbs. And he's that guy who I think is gonna have a floor, right? He had a floor with Green Bay, and I think that floor could be even better, and it might be 10 a week for him. And if all goes, very poorly with my wide receivers and Burden and Tate, and it just doesn't work out with those guys, like I think Dobbs might be a fine play to plug and play in there and, hope for the best. And I'm sure Burden, Tate, or Pierce will hit. And at least I'd hope one of those three would hit. But, that leaves Dobbs in a great place as a flex for me. I think he got paid. So I'm a big fan of that right there. Just a little bit of a safety net at wide receiver for me.
Yeah,
And
at these picks, you can't get picky. Like it's upside. There's just not much to them unless
yeah,
you get that shot in the dark, like a Puka or a Bucky Irving,
yep.
like late in your draft for some reason. But yeah, I feel like he has more touchdown upside than a floor for me. But I see like it's a new offense. At least that's what he was on Green Bay. New offense. Someone's got to play that role, like the
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs role, and I think AJ Brown is just way more than that. So,
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely am all in on AJ Brown. I just think
oh
that
yeah,
we are
yeah,
completely overlooking Dobbs as the number two
yeah,
in this
fair
offense.
enough,
So
fair enough.
I think it's going to be a very clear new number one and two, and I think Dobbs will get his. And if you believe in the Patriots offense, the late 10th to grab him, it's going to be a good pick. And it feels gross, but it's going to be a good pick. I mean, Golden, Jaden Higgins, Denzel Boston, these are the guys you're picking between. So Jordan Mason, Tajay Spears, Woody Marks, Tyrone Tracy, Chris Rodriguez. I like the Mason pick. Could be his backfield. Let's go back to the cheat sheets here. Or actually, I wanted to see here. Does everybody have a QB now? It looks like it. Yeah.
If Ken went off the board, I'd hope so.
Yeah, it looks like, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, because Trevor went in the seventh. I mean, you're telling me I can wait till the 11th after everybody's taken a QB in round seven or earlier, and I can still walk away with a very good quarterback in any of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and get Purdy. I like Purdy. This feels like a very strong value to me. I'll probably double up just because, the injuries with Purdy, and you never know. And there's still some good options here, but that feels like some serious value to get Purdy right there. So I'm loving that, especially with how early QBs were going in this draft.
Yeah, I think that's like shows the upside and downside of going QB early because like thinking about my pick, I wouldn't be surprised if Purdy finished above Caleb Williams.
Mhm.
And I took him at such a premium where yeah, this is a crazy value
Sixth
to get
round?
Purdy here.
Yeah,
So yeah,
600,
so
601.
yeah, 5 rounds later, you're
Yeah,
getting Brock Purdy. So that makes me feel worse about my pick, but it also just kind of shows the different paths you can take
yeah.
where I got to load up on other positions, and you did as well. But I got the stack I wanted, and now you get a crazy value in Purdy.
Yeah, we almost had an opposite draft if you think about it too. Like I loaded up
Yeah.
running back, wide receiver. I didn't take a tight end or QB until round eight, whereas you got both of yours in before the end of round six, by round six.
Mhm.
So you can just like there's so many different builds, and we'll continue this draft and see kind of how we like these very polarizing drafts at the end, and we'll see which one we kind of like better. String of
Yeah.
running backs go here, and this is backup territory now. Isaiah Pacheco. Keaton Mitchell,
Yeah.
Jonah Coleman, Alvin Kamara. So, I think both of us, it was smart to get our guys earlier. Um, that is one thing we can both walk away in common with is get your running backs at least two early on because it gets ugly by the end of the draft.
And that's what I was kind of experimenting with is like I knew running back got ugly, but
Mhm.
now I'm also on board with or I see now that receiver gets pretty ugly at some point if you go what I did with QB and tight end early.
Yeah.
So my thing, I'm not going to over explain this, but I'm not going QB. I'm not going tight end because I invested a premium. There's no sense in wasting a pick here where the only way I'm taking those guys out of the lineup is a bye week or they get hurt, or just like dramatically worse than what everyone thought they were going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so here, I really like Denzel Boston. I know you pointed him out, but I feel like it's kind of a dart throw with him or Casey. Some one of them's going to have a role in that offense early on, and I think it's going to be Boston. But I'll take the dart throw on Concepcion around
I,
later.
I honestly like Concepcion more than Boston. I think either one's a good pick because
Hmm.
you're throwing a dart, as you said. But I think Concepcion could be, that blanket, safety blanket, kind of like Fannin was last year. So both of
Yep.
them could be very, very good.
Yeah, and then worst cases, this is kind of waiver wire territory, anyways. So then I just
Yeah.
drop the guy and find the next guy that I
Yeah.
wanna see. And now this one, this pick has been a little. I've been liking to make the pick. I've been trashing on him to one of my buddies that he'll never finish as a top 24 wide receiver. It's just not there. It's Travis Hunter. I think that we'll see the cards early on of like whether he's going to be all in on defense and he's just kind of a gadget guy on offense, or is he going to come out and be a receiver for this team? So I think taking him in these rounds can't hurt. Sit on it for a few weeks and then see what happens. And if I have to drop him, I will. But I think there is upside, and it's getting to a point where like this guy shouldn't be going undrafted.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not a fun. It is kind of a fun pick, but it's not like a. I don't feel good about it. But it just kind of
Yeah.
at this point with the build I've made, I've taken like what 5 straight receivers here. So
Six.
holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, you got
So
7 receivers on roster. Let's see. Let's see. Let's click on Vinny's team over here. Oh, it won't let me scroll. All right. Anyways, a lot of ads on Fantasy Pros, but yeah, I mean Travis Hunter, that's a dart throw. One I'm unwilling to make, just
mhm.
because I think he plays 30% of the offensive snaps. See ya. So
Yep.
I think that's just one I'd rather take a shot elsewhere. But yeah, if you believe he could play a decent amount of snaps, I mean this dude is extremely talented. So I
Hmm.
don't blame you making that shot. I just don't think he'll be on the field enough. You got more backup running backs going. Dalton Kincaid, love the Goddard pick in the 12th. That's a beauty. Um, and pair that up with Likely, that's real nice. What do they got? Josh Allen at QB. Wow. I mean, I don't really like Terry, Bucky, some of those other picks I don't love, but feels really good overall. Anyways, back on the clock. Pick 12. I am going to double up QB. I don't know if I need to this round. Again, there's guys down the board, so if any other team doubles up, okay, like I pick somebody else. I want to look, running back. I mean, there is not a damn running back I'm really interested in. Nick Singleton, that's probably the one I'm interested in here, and that might be it. Tight end, I don't feel the need to double up. As we've talked with Kraft, he has some serious upside, and I'm gonna rock with him as my dude. So I'm not gonna double up there. Wide receiver, do I want to get another one? I have JSN, Luther Burden, Carnell Tate, Alec Pierce, Romeo Dobbs. I think so. I think that could be a good play because Chase Brown, Jacobs, Judkins, and Dobbins feels very solid. And I don't know if I want to swing for Singleton just because I feel good about the position. If there's nobody I like here, I'll go back, draft Singleton easily. But let's take a look here in wide receiver. Maybe there's a name I could pull. Trey Tucker, fine option. Somebody's got to catch the ball at the wide receiver position in Vegas. Omar Cooper, I don't know if I'm going to be drafting Omar Cooper this year. I just don't know how it's going to work out. And
Sure.
as I'm looking through, yeah, I'm actually going to go back and draft Singleton. I just don't like these names. I think Shahid's a fantastic pick, but obviously I have JSN. I'm not going to do that. And with these names, I don't think there's enough upside. I think Nick Singleton has the most upside here. So that's going to be my pick. Um, wide receiver is definitely a weaker position for me, but I love it. I love this build so far. And there you go, Mahomes, Stafford. So I'll pick another quarterback that's not one of those two guys. Andrews, Hunter Henry, Diggs, Omar Cooper, Debo. I think if you go for a free agent receiver, Diggs is the guy to go. I think that's a fine pick. I think he'll go somewhere, could have some value. Emmett Johnson, solid, I guess. But let me double up on QB here and wrap up with my last pick. You got Bo Nix. Is there any like stacks I could do too? JSN, Luther Burr. I don't really want to do the
You
Jordan
want
Love
Darnold?
draft stat. I don't want to go Darnold. You took Caleb. I don't want Cam Ward. I don't want Daniel Jones. Drake May's gone. So I don't think there's going to be a stack because I don't really want Jordan Love. Um, I think Bo Nix, Goff, Kyler Murray. I think Tyler Shuck's a good pick. We talked about it last week. If I want something steady, it's Goff. But I think Purdy is steady. So I'm gonna go with an upside pick here. I'm gonna go Kyler Murray. I don't love it, but we're gonna go Kyler Murray, take a swing. Why not? I think that's solid. Purdy feels very solid to me, so I don't want to get another solid QB in Jared Goff. So I'm taking the shot. Kyler Murray, that will round out my draft, and we go to the last pick here, Vinny. I
Yeah,
mean, Ray Davis, Emmanuel Wilson just went up.
Mr.
Rondé
Irrelevant
Gadsden,
here.
Kenyon, AJ Barner. Wow. All right. Rashid
Yep.
Shaheed. So, yeah,
Yeah, you know, it. I know it seems crazy to go seven straight receiver. I'm not gonna go receiver here just because I feel better at the position, and I think seven was like a little excessive.
yeah,
But I think I was just trying to prove the point of like I don't want to have to rely on just three guys and be happy with it and just take backup running backs. I'd rather rely on guys that like have a path to target share rather than just hoping for an injury
yeah,
at a position of like, drafting Brian Robinson and hoping Bijan goes down. Like, there's not any like upside in that aside from the injury. And I don't want to bet on an injury. So
yeah.
the running back just weren't enticing when I was picking those receivers, and they still aren't. I don't even know who to go here. I is did what's his name? Keaton. I was looking at Keaton Mitchell
Yeah,
now. He's gone.
Keaton went
I don't
in
know.
the 11th, so 2 rounds.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just go.
Jaden Blue,
Yeah. Let's go like Katron Allen. I don't
Katron
know.
Allen. Yeah,
I don't like the pick. I just feel like it's a rookie unknown there. I didn't pick him. Fuck.
I think that's a solid pick there. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. I'll actually pick him this time. Oh, I added him to the queue. Yeah, Katron Allen. Not much to say about it. I don't think much from it, but
yeah.
uh, yeah.
All right, they give me a 80 out of 100.
They did not like my team. I got a 73. I got a C.
Damn. Oh wow,
I'm gonna.
they put you at 11 out of 12. I'm at 9. So they like everything that fits their rankings and everything, you know. So team 2 is their favorite. I'll go to the draft board. Why don't we look by team instead of by round? So team 2, they had Drake May, Bijan, David Montgomery, George Pickens, Wandale Robinson, Trey McBride, RJ Harvey, Downs, Pearsall, Jordan Mason, Woody Marks, Omar Cooper, and Stephon Diggs. Fantasy Pros tripping. That's all I gotta say about that. I will say the top, like Drake May, Bijan. I like Monty as an RB2. I like Pickens and I like McBride. But you're telling Wandale Robinson is your wide receiver too, and we're saying this is the best team in this draft. Get out of here. Um,
Yeah, it almost feels like similar to my build, except I have better
yeah.
running back, and
Yep.
like
Yep.
so. I don't know. I don't really see the logic. I'm not going to say my team should be better. I don't. Not a big fan of my team, but that feels like I have the similar build, and I feel like
Yeah.
I drafted better players.
I mean, team 1 is better. Dart, Henry, Scat, Chase, Devontae,
Yeah,
Bowers,
that's just
Marv.
oh
You
yeah,
got
wow,
Rico,
Bowers there.
Gainwell, Stout. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a
Great,
great team.
great team, great team. All right. Let's look at ours. We don't need to look through everyone. But my build here, just for the starters alone, Brock Purdy, Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Luther Burden, Tucker Kraft, and Quinshawn Judkins. That feels very balanced. I feel really good about that. I feel kind of locked in with some great pieces all around. I don't feel like I have a positional advantage everywhere, but at the same time, Kraft feels great. And that's a trap I've noticed I get into in like my actual drafts over the last few years is load up running back, load up wide receiver, and you don't have a great tight end or QB. And that can set you back. It really can. But the way the board fell, getting Tucker Kraft, it really worked out in my favor. I think he can be a positional advantage there at the tight end position. And Purdy just felt like such a value. So I'm happy with that. I got on the bench. I got Purdy and Kyler at QB. Running back Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs, Quinshawn Judkins, J.K. Dobbins, and Nick Singleton. That feels really loaded. Like I feel very good about that. Wide receiver, I feel the weakest, but JSN, Luther Burden, Carnell Tate, Alec Pierce, and Romeo Dobbs. These are guys I like. I think Pierce is a guy I'm climbing up more and more on even. So Pierce is going to be interesting. Maybe whispers of a my guy candidate. I'm not going to say I'm going to go ahead and make him a my guy, but it's definitely a possibility just with, I think he's an extreme value right now too. So I'm very happy with this team. And, JSN, he's a positional advantage himself. And yeah, feels like a great team. Let me move
Yeah,
these
I
guys.
would say my favorite pick of that is Judkins at the flex. I feel like, he could be right there with Jacobs as an RB2, but you have the premium of having him at a flex. So
Yep.
I like the RB room for you and
RB
how it
room is
turned out
probably
with
my
it.
strongest for sure. Yeah.
All right. So Fantasy Pros does not like my team. Sort of. Oh wow. Here, what's wrong with this light? But Fantasy Pros doesn't like my team. I can't say I really do either. But
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't think it's horrendous. I love that I went with the dual running back start. I think I did pay for it in the end, where I took a bunch of shots at receiver, 7 in a row. But I go Caleb Williams at QB, Ashton Genty at running back, or in HN at running back.
Mhm.
Tedero McMillan, DK Metcalf as my receivers. But DK being there at the two spot doesn't necessarily mean that I would have to start him week one,
Yep.
because I grabbed so much depth. And then Loveland, and then again with your Quinshawn pick, I love Travion as my flex. I think there's so much upside there, and with all these guys, there's so much receiving ability in a PPR league. So I
Mhm.
like the upside of like big weeks if when everyone puts it together. And then if you want to scroll down a little bit, I'm going off of
Yep.
yours because my screen's all messed up. Yeah, that's good. Thanks. And then I have Michael Wilson. This is the receiver run I went on. Michael
Yep.
Wilson, Jordan Addison, Xavier Worthy, Casey Concepcion, Travis Hunter. Then I finish it off with Katron Allen, who non-factor really. But this receiver run I went on, I think it allows me to kind of play matchups. Like even a week one matchup, we don't know much information. It's kind of based off last year, the additions teams made. But I think it's like I can play a matchup, or if Jefferson goes down, if Marvin Harrison, like there's a lot of room for upside, not much floor, which I don't like,
Mhm.
especially with DK already being my receiver too, where there's a lot of volatility, like we mentioned. So I think, I went a little excessive with the receiver at the end, but I think I needed to because it now provided me a little more stability of like, all right, if this guy doesn't work out for the first few weeks, maybe this guy will kick it into gear. So, weird build, but I kind of went to go get some players like Caleb and Loveland that I don't usually go and draft, and I just kind of wanted to see how it turned out. And I
Mhm.
think it showed me that I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a fun sort of build to go through.
Yeah, I think to that point, like it definitely felt like you reached on that stack, like looking back at it, right? And it's
Definitely.
it just feels like for me especially, I think in general we would have had different picks like throughout some of these receivers here. But it could have turned out all right. The board just didn't fall that way either. And I think like I'm not big on Travion. I think I am worried that it'll still be Ramondre 60% to Travion 40%. So, like looking at if we look at the by rounds, so what did round five, round so yeah, round five, like I would have taken Swift over him. And then, you're locked in
Yeah.
Genty, Achan, Swift without banking on that upside. There's just so much upside that's being banked on in this build. So that's something to consider. Like I said, going, who did I say I would have taken here? Like maybe a Godwin or a Pittman over DK just to mitigate some of that volatility. Then it might be feeling a little better. We also know I'm not unworthy, and Travis Hunter feels like a nothing. So, I think I would have just drafted the players within this build a little differently. But hey,
Hmm.
there you go. Now you know. Don't go full volatility when you're drafting. Get some safe
Yeah.
picks in there. Maybe don't take. the tight end and QB within the first 6 rounds, unless that's something you're like, okay, there are receivers I like within this range when Vinny went on that huge run of wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I think looking back on it, like even if I changed the Loveland pick, I could have went T. Higgins or Lad McConkey, and then I'm feeling a lot better at the receiving position. And then kind of like I think you would have sniped me on Kraft because you came before me, but it is just interesting now to see how differently it could have worked out because those are good receivers there. So I had the option to
Mhm.
kind of stack up the receiving position early, with Tech kind of being sort of a volatile pick. We don't know exactly with the quarterback position, but. Yeah, I agree. But you got to try the stuff out. Like we
Yep.
said, it was a mock draft, and that's what it's for a reason. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think Ibuka could have been a very fun pick there, and then you got Ted Ibuka,
Mhm.
two second year, yeah, second year guys going in. But got to try it out, see how it goes. And like we talked about, this was just a weird draft. Like the QBs were just flying off the board, which is why it ended up being such a value for me to get Purdy here.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's not always how it's going to go, right? So I think
Mahomes.
Caleb in the sixth is fair, maybe a little bit of a reach, but it feels like fair value, especially when you had 6 QBs go off the board first. And I'd take Caleb over Jalen Hurts for sure. So it's just one of those situations where it's like, we can't predict how the rest of it went. It just worked out for me who hadn't taken the QB, but that feels
Yep.
fine for Caleb and that feels fine for Loveland. Again, you're drafting at the turn, you got to get your guys because after Loveland, there's no way Loveland and Warren make it back here to where you
Yeah,
took Travion. So it's just one of those situations where it worked out. It would be fun to do another one at the 12 and see if you could draft a little differently.
I
Maybe some
know.
of the same guys, but
I think it's easy to forget that the 12 spot is like such a desired drafting spot just because of that back-to-back picks. But you're right, there's so much more strategy that goes into it
mhm.
because you have to be thinking like 2 rounds ahead almost because of the fact that you don't get a pick for a whole 2 rounds basically.
Yep.
So you got to use them right and kind of map out your team early on, which I tried to do, but then you could see the downsides of it where you don't have as much depth because you're loaded up at premier positions.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think every year we're like, oh, I want the back end, I want the back end,
Yep.
the turn. I think this is one of those years where I don't. I personally don't. I want a top six pick because
Yep.
I'm also in on Amon Ra right there at six. And then you can kind of go whatever you want that back half. But
Hmm.
looking at this first round, one of these 6 guys, like I want one of those 6 guys on my team. And then the turn looks really good. I mean, Saquon, Chase Brown, Ken Walker, Alave Pickens, one of these tight ends. There's Derrick Henry. I got Josh Jacobs here. There's just I like it a lot better this year. I think that's kind of more of a consensus across the board. And if you're playing in a home league, take advantage of that. If people want the back half, let them take it.
Hmm.
Let them take it
Hmm.
again this year. But yeah, it's interesting to see how it's changed from last year wanting the back half to this year wanting that front half.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you on that front half because those first 6 picks, I would almost we could get into that with rankings later, but I would take like I think Amon Ra is capable of going above JSN. Like it
I
sounds
agree.
crazy,
I
but
agree.
yeah, so I'm definitely with you on that top 5 spot or top 6.
Yep, I agree. So with that, that's the
There we
mock
go.
draft. A lot of fun, and the lights go out.
Yeah, with
Curtain
uh,
goes. But
yeah.
yeah, we will. There's going to be a couple weeks we have to double up this summer just because of being away, things like that. So I think, no promises, but I think this week we'll end up doubling up. QB rankings will be coming next, whenever that is. Not sure if it'll be this week or next, but that will be what you're getting next. So we're starting the ranking episodes. Really exciting. We're going to be doing 6 total ranking episodes. So we'll have the QBs, the top 12, the tight ends are the top 12, and then we'll also have the top 24 running backs and wide receivers. So we're gonna really be breaking it down. We do have to do our QBs and get those prepped, and we will be getting out those top 12 for you guys very soon. So as always, thanks for tuning in. This was a very fun episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.